Les interviews magiques de Marcus Majart.
Hi everybody and welcome in this new Magic interview. And today it's really an honor for me to present you Jack Carpenter. If you don't know him already, of course. He came in Brussels for a lecture in June and I have to say it was one of the best lectures of my life. Yeah, really, I'm not kidding. Not only by the fact he's a master in magic, but also he's a wonderful human being and he has a high level of kindness and generosity that we don't see every day in life. And of course, for me, it was also one of the best interviews that I made. Let's see that and I'll meet you again after the interview. Well, thank you, Jack, for the nice lecture that you did and for letting me asking some questions for this interview. It's very kind of you. You are classified like an underground magician for a lot of people and magicians, but you release some material. But it's hard to find information about you. So, for example, how did you start the magic?
Yes, it's a good question. I probably a lot like others, but I would have to say the first thing that kicked it off for me was my mother. Believe it or not, when I was a young boy, she told me the story about this card shark she met down in Biloxi, Mississippi. She lived in Biloxi at the time, and she met this fellow that showed her how to deal cards from the middle at will. And she'd tell these stories. I remember being, 10 years old or whatever, and she was talking about this great card guy. And he could do anything with cards. And she described this routine where he would just pick up the cards and shuffle them and then deal them out. And he'd deal the cards he wanted out of the middle. And many, many, many years later, after listening to her again and remembering what she told me, I realized he was doing probably Lorraine's poker deal or the Marlowe Gardner poker deal. But I was convinced, I believed everything as she perceived it. And I've never forgotten that, the way my mother perceived that kind of stuff and how it impressed her. Mm-hmm. And of course, every young boy wants to impress their mother. Mm-hmm. So that's what got me first interested in wanting to find the secrets of a deck of cards. Mm-hmm. So that's a good question. That's interesting.
Okay, fine. And so in '92, you released your first book, Modus Operandi, and I love to ask the reason why you people or magicians write books. What was your motivation to write this book or to make this book?
That's a good question because some of it has to be ego, I think, desire to get information out there. That you feel is worthy of it. When you have a good idea, and I think that was part. But part of it also is ego that you think that yes, I think I have something here that has worth, and I want some notoriety for it. Maybe I guess, but that's a good question. I think that's what motivated me. I did want to share it. And at the time, a lot of that stuff was kind of I broke some ground, at least as I look back on it. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I first, I didn't know the whole protocol at all about publishing at the time. Mm-hmm. And I just, when I moved to Seattle, I just called up Stephen Minch, and I was kind of, I had no idea how these things. So I got some stuff. You want to see it? You might want to write this up. And long story short, Stephen Hobbs ended up writing the book for Stephen Minch, and he published it. And I just hit at the right time when he was publishing, going on a little tangent and publishing unknown artists. And among them was myself, Terry LeGerald, and the incredible Ernie Eric. Mm-hmm. And he kind of did that little trio of books in that period. And I got lucky that's when I approached him, when he wanted to do that kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. He wanted to release good material mm-hmm. from relatively or unknown, totally unknown people. So I got lucky. And but yeah, totally. I guess I was a typical card man egomaniac, I guess, right? So
that's nice. And is it is it your first time in Belgium? And did you had time to visit Brussels or something?
Oh, I did quite a bit around Brussels, just driving around, and fighting the traffic, figuring my way out, learning how to drive. But yeah, we also took a nice ride down to Bruges, and that was really incredible. A little historic town. I know there was a movie made there with a couple, it was pretty famous movie, but the town itself is incredible. I mean, the history there, and reaching back to the 11th, 12th century, just amazing stuff. So, yeah, saw a lot of the countryside on the way. It was great. Really loved it.
Okay, nice. And so you are a chord expert, but you also do something else. For example, Rubiks Cube. Is it because you are afraid that people are bored with cards, or is it something that you want to share because you did too much cards, or maybe people ask something else than cards?
To tell you the truth, I was at a convention last year and saw the inimitable Karl Hein, and he did his lecture and he did his Rubiks Cube stuff, and he's one of the true masters out there. And I remember asking him, he was selling his DVDs, and I said, Karl, can an old guy learn to do this stuff? And he said, well, yeah, but you got to practice. You got to learn how to solve the cube. Otherwise, it's all pointless. You have to do the work to solve it. And I said, well, that's the one thing I really do well is repetition. And it sounds like it's up my alley, because if I have to say I have a skill, then my number one skill is the ability to sit for hours and do the same thing over and over again, and enjoy it. Yeah. So it went from there. So because I was really impressed with what Karl did. And the end result was that after looking at the work of Karl and Stephen Brundage, and I should mention George, it's awful, the magician that made the tape with Karl. I'm just having a brain fart here, but anyway, that material got me going like everybody else. And I did come up with I call it a card dance version method for a Rubiks Cube solve, a magic solve, one-handed toss-up solve, that I think is actually probably the easiest one around, because I'm not a Rubiks Cube guy, so, and we did market it, but on that we did say, you got to get the work of the guys that laid the groundwork, and that's where it all came from. Nobody came up to me and said, I'm sick of the card tricks, or I need to see a Rubiks Cube trick. I just got obsessed with it. It just happens. We're all aware of that, how that happens, how you're doing your magic life and something just tweaks you and you're off and running and you can't think of anything else. It could be 3 months, it could be a year. It may peter out after a week, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, indeed.
And that's what happened with the cube, and I just obsessed over it.
Indeed.
And it's also it's ubiquitous. I think it's even among young people more of a known object than a deck of cards even. I mean, today I run into the young people who, I have them pick a card. No, what was your card? The three of clovers, or something. They're not even familiar. They don't play card games anymore. But the Rubiks Cube from 8 to 80, they know thoroughly what it is, what the implications of it are, and it's a great prop for magic. Yeah, and that's what got me interested. So.
Indeed, and in general, in everything that you did, that you create, what is the routine that you are more proud of? What is the best routine that you said, okay, this is my favorite?
That's a tough one. Because it probably just make a lot of magicians go, what? All my life I've been obsessed with ace assemblies, and particularly the backfire assemblies, and of course the O. Henry endings. And I didn't rest for 30 years until I came up with a version that combined the O. Henry, those classic Vernon slow motion aces, the Vernon and the O. Henry ending, and the backfire ending in a sensible manner, in an entertaining fashion, a coherent fashion. So I have to say that's, I don't want to say I'm most proud of, but it's one of my most favorite things. I probably need more time to think about it. But that's what pops to my head right away.
And I can say it's very, very beautiful.
Well, thank you very much. And simple, right?
Yeah.
You tell the audience that it's very simple.
Indeed. And to end, do you have something to add or to say to the people?
Well, I don't know exactly what your audience is. Is it young people or
Right. Everything. Magicians, laymen, young, a little bit older.
Well, you know, I'd say no matter where you're at in your magic life or where you think you're at, the key is you never give up. There's never, if you've got a vision in your head of what you want, whether you're a creator or more on your career side, there's certain goals you have as far as where you want to be. Don't listen to anybody. Never quit. You know, when people discourage you, take that as encouragement. You say, oh, that's what I want to hear because I know I'm on the right track because somebody's trying to stop me. So never give up. That's my best advice. If we're going to do one-word advice, never quit.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Well, it was an honor and a pleasure for me to interview you, and it was really awesome. And you are a great magician, and it was a really honor for me to see that and to meet you. Thank you.
Marcos, thank you.
Thank you very much to you.
Thanks for this. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and good luck and good rest of trip.
Yes, we got 12 more stops now, and then
Okay.
we're done. But we'll do it over 3 weeks, a little less than 3 weeks. So be rigorous, but
Enjoy your trip. So.
thank you very much.
Bye. Thanks.
A huge thank you to him for this wonderful lecture, and also to Alain Guerant who planned this marvelous lecture. Don't forget to like this video and to subscribe to my channel if you like this new magic interview. I see you for our next video. Until there, take care of you. Ciao!